The story that I read for you today is Hansel and Gretel. A long time ago, there lived a small family at the edge of the woods. There was a woodcutter, his little son Hansel, daughter Gretel, and his second wife, who was stepmother to his two children. They were not well off, even though he worked hard from morning till night. They had very little to eat. They even went to bed early to save on firewood and candles. The stepmother did not like the two little children, though they were good-natured and helpful. One night, when the children were in bed, the stepmother spoke to the woodcutter. They sat discussing about their poverty and wondered if things would ever change for them. Then she said, "We don't have enough for everyone at home. It will be a good idea to leave the children in the middle of the forest. Then at least there will be enough for us." The woodcutter, who loved his children very much, was not happy, but his wife compelled him to agree. Hansel, who was awake then, heard the conversation. So the next day he filled his pockets with white pebbles and dropped them on the way as their father took them into the middle of the woods. After their father left them and went away, they just had to follow the pebbles to find their way back home. The next day they were taken out again. This time, instead of pebbles, Hansel had breadcrumbs in his pocket. But in the evening, when he tried to find their way home, he could not see them as the birds had eaten them. They were lost in the forest, tired and scared. They had kept going in circles. At last they came upon a pretty little cottage. To their wonder, it was made completely of sweets. They were hungry and ran up to the cottage. They started plucking candy off the window, cookies off the wall, and all sorts of delicious goodies. Suddenly they heard a voice, and turning around saw an old ugly woman. She allowed them to stay in her house and eat all they wanted. She was really a witch who trapped children with her chocolate cottage and later ate them up. The witch was especially fond of little boys, so she decided to fatten Hansel and eat him after a few days. She got hold of him, put him in a cage and fed him well. Gretel was forced to do all the work in the cottage. Now the little children were very smart and they knew what the witch wanted to do. They also knew that she was nearly blind. So each time she tried to feel Hansel's finger to see if he had grown plump, he held out a chicken bone. The witch was surprised. He was still so thin. One day she got very impatient. She asked Gretel to blow into the fireplace to set the fire going. Gretel said, "But I don't know how to do it." The witch was annoyed and knelt down at the fireplace to show her. Gretel seized the opportunity and pushed the witch into the burning fire. There was a loud pop and a burst of light. The witch vanished in a thick cloud of smoke. That was the end of the witch. Gretel set her brother free. They gathered all the wealth they could from the witch's house and bundled it together and set off for home. Luck was with them, and they soon found their way home. Their father was really happy and jubilant to see them back. As for their stepmother, he had sent her away soon after the children had got lost. Hansel and Gretel now had their father, and the family lived together happily ever after. Thank you.